Hello, hello, and welcome back to Let Supreme Ghost Thief 2. Mission 5, Eavesdropping, is here, and now I feel that the mission quality is picking up a little bit. Not that Eavesdropping is a fantastic mission, but it's when the story for Thief 2 really gets going, and it's a huge step up in quality too from the previous ones. And then we have First City Bank and Trust next, which is one of the best missions in the game, in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope you guys are too. One reason why this mission is a little bit interesting is because there's a lot of extra information I can give you. There are some Easter eggs, there are some interesting trivia, there's quite a few unused conversations actually that I can play for you, and we'll take that as we go along here. And the most interesting game mechanic I think so far is implemented in this mission, and that actually forces our hand a little bit. So we are going to go ahead and load up the end of Ambush, and we are going to watch 2 videos actually for this one.
By order of the Council of the Keepers, you must come with us. Garrett, be reasonable. Logic dictates...
Leave.
But we must...
Now!
Has your wealth of knowledge grown so vast that you've lost all hunger for more? Is there no more trust between us then?
Let's make this fast.
My hand is copper, my brow is lead. Suffer me in a red patina swept along in a molten flow to a sad eternity. My stride interrupted, my thoughts untimed. My tears are become drops of silver that shatter the crystalline fern. I plead the wind to sweep us away.
Nice poem.
Not poetry, prophecy. The Metal Age is upon us.
I picked the gilded apple from the iron tree. I wipe the rust from my brow.
Iron trees? Not in my part of town.
Find the humor if you must. But can you tell me truly, Garrett, are there any trees in your part of town? I will answer for you. There are not.
Destiny and danger are still focused on the one, the renegade who is both brethren and betrayer.
Well, you got the danger part right anyway. Tell you what, you keepers can plant a few shrubs about town and I'll take care of me. I'll find my own way home.
You're a fool! Do you not understand what is at stake?
Did you not hear the interpreter's words?
Yes, Keeper Orland, he has heard. Do not despair. Let me go after him, alone. Not to persuade, but to leave the door open between us. One more moment, if you will, Garrett.
One moment.
You have trouble, my friend. Danger from someone who hired Truart to kill you.
Yes?
Then take this. The sooner you are done with your business, the sooner you will help us.
Don't count on it.
My heart it ceases, my breath undrawn, my eyes forever focused
on the sanguine metal dawn.
I headed back to my safe house and kept thinking about the letter. I know they're trying to manipulate me, but keepers never alter the truth. Just keep it in the shadows. Besides, it's not like I got a lot of leads anyway.
If you seek the private knowledge of the sheriff, go to the Eastport Mechanist Seminary tomorrow night. With stealthy discretion, overhear what you may at a certain very timely meeting.
Looks like I have something useful to learn from a seminary for a change. There are 2 open towers and some back doors which might be helpful for getting in. The catacombs below the church could be another way in, but I'd rather not tread where the dead sleep. The meeting will most likely take place in some sort of conference hall. There's no guarantee that I'll even be able to get inside, but all I need to do is get close enough to listen at the door. I better pull this off quickly and find a new hideout before the bulldogs get my scent. This situation does have one advantage. Things can't get any worse. Who could hire someone like the sheriff to kill me?
All right, so here we are. Eavesdropping. So mission 5 is an interesting one. I'm happy that I've been able to increase my frequency of videos, by the way, lately. However, I've been able to upload videos a little bit faster because I had saved up 4 or 5 of them. So in the upcoming near future, I probably won't be able to keep up with the current frequency. I'm hoping maybe a video or a mission a week, maybe one every other week, you know, or somewhere in that range. My schedule hasn't changed anything right now, but that's a lot better anyway than, you know, every other month or 3 months like I used to do. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get through Thief 2 and T2X in the next few months, which will be awesome. So, eavesdropping, what do we need to do here? Well, the Keeper's tips are your best lead, so you'd better be at the door to overhear the sheriff's conversation. It should start when the church bells toll midnight. You'll need to stay close to the door to ensure you hear every word. There is no timer here, even though it says midnight. When we get to the door, it'll be midnight. You know, however long we spend before that, doesn't matter. And that's when the conversation will start, so we won't miss that conversation. That's not really possible. The Mechanist Seminary was once a Hammerite cathedral, so there's bound to be plenty of trinkets lying about. Steal at least 1,200 in loot. Killing is the mark of an amateur. Don't kill anyone. Once you're done, get back out by heading to the front gate. Awesome. So, this mission can be Supreme Ghosted. When I ghosted it back, you know, 10, 15 years ago, I was not able to Supreme Ghost it, but that was really due to my own inability and my own lack of proper attempting, I would say. Because it is possible to Supreme Ghost. We cannot perfect Supreme Ghost it. We're going to have to skip a couple pieces of loot. That's actually going to be the first piece of loot that we're going to see. We have to skip. But we can Supreme Ghost it, so we want to stay away from any other busts, any other first alerts. We can't use any moss arrows or remove any light sources, all those kind of things that normally go along with Supreme Ghosting. So it's really just listening to that conversation, but we're going to get more objectives as we do that, because that'll reveal some information. We can't buy anything for Supreme. Notice that there is an invisibility potion here. I'm not sure if that's been seen before. Well, yeah, we had it in previous missions. I'm not sure if it's been up for sale. So there's one available there. It's 600, so it's steep. So we start with 15 water arrows, 3 rope arrows, 10 moss arrows, so you shouldn't need any more than that for regular Ghost. So there isn't really a need to buy anything for any reason here. So normally, of course, I would click play mission, but I'm actually not going to do that. I am going to load a save game that I have at the very beginning of the mission. So we're going to do that to start. And I'll explain why I'm doing that in a little bit. If you've played the mission before, I think that you maybe know why I'm doing that. I always assume that you've played my missions, but it might have been a long time since you played it. Maybe you're just checking out my videos because you played Thief as a child, or as a younger man, and don't remember the game mechanics, so I'll explain that. However, let's first take a look at the map. So we start out here in the north, outside the front gates. There are 2 towers that was mentioned in the briefing as access points. Inside, there is the main chapel. That's this whole floor. It's just one big open area. That's a difficult area to go through. There's a pulpit and a couple of pillars here that are good for hiding. And then there is one staircase down that doesn't really show on the map. And there's a staircase up here to the 2nd floor. I think that's how it is. I don't think those are the other way around. There are 2 doors in on the south side. On either side here. This one is accessible from the western courtyard. So that's outside direct entry. And this is an open door. So this isn't a locked facility. We've gotten in through the main entrance to the courtyard here. Don't ask me how, but we have. So all the doors here are open. There's a couple locked doors, but I'll get to those. Then this whole section is what's called the... well, this is the Acolyte Quarters and the Guard Barracks, but this whole area here I think is called the Ante-Room, I believe. At least the notice in the basement says that this leads up to the Ante-Room. So there's a top and a bottom floor to both of the quarters here, and there's a hidden passage actually between the two, underneath. There are a couple of crypts here in the southwest that gives access to the catacombs. And this is the meeting hall, which we cannot get into. There's no way you can get in there. But there are 2 doors, one outside, one inside, and you can eavesdrop or listen to either of those doors to hear the conversation between Truart and Karras. This is the first time we are meeting Karras, or we're not meeting him, we're listening to him, and in fact we will not see him or interact with him at all in the entire game. We can see him in the last mission, but there's no real confrontation between you and him besides through audible conversations. So we will listen to one of these doors. We'll actually listen on the outside door here. And then things will change, and I'll talk about that once we get there. This is the 2nd floor, and this area here is actually not inside, it's the roof. There's no more than 1 floor in the east. And there's a little storage shed that we can get into, but there's an access to the 2nd floor from the outside. That's going to be vital here. If that access wasn't there, we would have had to get in either through one of the towers or through the staircase from below. And that staircase you can't use for Supreme at all. So the area in the middle here is open. That's just down to the chapel below. And there's a guard here that's quite difficult, but then there's patrollers that patrol around this area clockwise. This is the 3rd floor, and there's nothing available on the 3rd floor except for in the towers and in one of the offices or bedrooms down in the south. This is the catacombs for the seminary, basement level, and there are 3 ways down into the catacombs. One is from the chapel, which we're not going to be able to take. There is one from the crypts, which bring you here into this room, I think. And then there is the ante-room, which is what I assume this area is supposed to be, because this is the staircase that leads to that location. This is the workshop here, which is separated from the catacombs in the west with a door, and there's another door here to and from the staircase. So that's what we have to deal with. Now, the reason I loaded a save game here is introducing the main game mechanic in this mission, which is new. Once we hear the conversation at the end of it, and it's a fairly long conversation, we will get revealed the location of a safe deposit box key. Now, there are 10 keys, 10 red keys spread throughout the mission. And any one of those keys could be the correct one. Once we get revealed the location, that key will change name to deposit box key, the one that is correct. But we don't know which one is correct until we hear that conversation. You could, of course, if you ghost, when you don't have to return the incorrect keys, you could pick up all the keys and then go listen to the conversation last. And then, of course, you have the correct one in possession. But that you can't do for Supreme because you have to return them all, and I don't want to have to do that. Now, which key is the correct key is actually randomly decided when you start the mission. It's an interesting mechanic because it uses the internal game clock, or the clock on your computer, the time internally, to determine that. So I assume it's like the last digits that determine which one. So there's a 10% chance for each key because of that timer. Now, when we have taken the key, we have to copy it, and we have to return the key. That's actually an objective that will trigger. Not just for Supreme, but for any mode, you have to return that one correct key. Now, one of those locations will not allow us to return the key successfully for Supreme. So one of those 10 keys will be a bust if it happens to be in that wrong location for us. So I started the mission, and I went and listened to the conversation right away and found where the key was located. And if it had been the incorrect place, or the place that I didn't want, I would have had to restart. So I didn't want to do that, even though there's only 10% chance. I didn't want to do that for the playthrough. That would just be tedious. But I didn't replay it until I got the perfect location. I went with the first one I found. So the location that we're going to end up seeing it in is an interesting one. That will be the one that I got on my first playthrough. So I have not manipulated this in any way. There is one location that could be quite tedious for Supreme. Luckily, I didn't get that. And then, like I said, there's one that you can't get. There's one that's super easy, which we didn't get. And I'll point those out as we go along. I'll show you all the different locations if you don't know about them. So that's where we are at right now. So I'm going to load it up again and give myself a quick save right there. Now, something I want to share with you guys today is I recently found that there are several unused conversations in Thief 2 missions that are assigned to specific missions. I just found this before this mission, but I wanted to share a few from previous missions we've done that I was not able to play for you then. So the first one is from Mission 1, Running Interference. It's a fairly long and interesting conversation, so that should start now in a second, and I will go ahead and play it for you.
Jax, can I bother you a moment? I don't mean to pry, but I heard you were thinking of joining the Sheriff's Guard.
Well, sure, it's recruiting for the City Watch, and with those new security machines everywhere, I don't know how long the guarding business is gonna last.
But have you seen those mechanical men the Sheriff has now? I would never want to work around one of those.
Mechanical men? What do you mean?
Well, imagine a walking, talking security machine. It's hard to explain. They seem like people, but they're made all of metal. They have arms and faces, and they can see you, but you can tell just by looking at them, their only purpose is to kill.
I suppose this is another bit of progress from those mechanists.
Yes, I think so. I just wanted to mention it before you did decide to quit your job here. I'd hate to see you go.
Thanks, Meryl. I guess I'd better not be too hasty.
Oh, that's all right. Good night, Jax.
There you go. So that's a very interesting conversation, actually, that I kind of wish was in the original game. We get introduced to Meryl and Jax. I don't think that those are mentioned anywhere in the readables in Rumford's Manor from Mission 1. But maybe it reveals the security machines and all that a little bit too early in the game. Maybe that's why they didn't want that in Mission 1. But I wish that they could have put that in a different one, because it's a big, nice conversation that it's sort of sad that we didn't get. But now I could show it to you, so that's excellent. Okay, there's also one from Mission 3 from Framed. That is smaller, but I'll show you that one as well.
You think your beloved woodsy lord is going to help you now? You're kind of caused enough trouble around here. We're gonna put a stop to it.
Man fool, he aims the oaks and leaves, and he will feed us on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy watching you burn.
That's cool as well. So that includes a pagan from Framed. It might have been a conversation in the basement, in the prison area, between a guard and maybe even a prisoner inside, behind the prison gate or bars. But it's really showing the ruthlessness of the City Watch here. I'm going to enjoy watching you burn. And the opposition to the pagans that have been introduced now by Trurt. Or by Karras, really, but he's influenced Trurt to do it. Then there's one more conversation that I wanted to play before we start this mission. I know there's a little bit of pre-information here, but I think that's interesting. Of course, you can skip forward to when we start the run if you want to. This is a new conversation, but it's a slightly extended one. And it's one that involves Benny, so I think that would be for everybody's in everybody's best interest to listen to that. It's between Benny and the prostitute in the marketplace in ambush. And there was a viewer that actually commented on that being one of his favorite conversations. It's just one line that is added to the end, but I wanted to play it just to be complete. So here is that one from ambush.
What's a big fella like you doing out here at night?
Big fella.
Don't you want a woman to keep you warm?
What for? This uniform is plenty warm enough, and it's not even cold out tonight.
Wouldn't you like to come over to my place to get out of the cold?
So there we go. That last line there from the woman was extended. Not sure why that was cut away. Maybe it was an alternate way of saying her second line to try to, get Benny to become a customer, I guess. So, yeah. Awesome that we can get those extra conversations in here. See, I'm going to go ahead and reload the beginning again. And then we can get going. Now, also, I guess I have one more thing to say. I did find out the movement problem. It was not my keyboard, like I said originally. If you guys see, some of you might have this problem too. So that's why I want to illustrate this. It is actually a frame rate issue. So I'm playing on a laptop that has a slightly lower frame rate than my desktop. So if I crouch and I run, because of the frame rate, it'll keep tapping like that. But if I face down, then I can go much better like that, because now I have a much smaller area on screen, so the frame rate increases. But if I view up, then I have all the background with the rotating gear and the entrance and all that, so then I can't do that. So it is definitely related to frame rate. So if anyone has issues, you might want to try to close programs, maybe turn off vertical sync and other ways to increase your frame rate, because that is definitely what it's related to, 100%. I tried a lot of things, and that was the issue. Okay, let's load it one more time here. Finally, let's get going. So now I'm creeping, that's why I'm not tapping now. Okay. I remembered to use Necrorage this time. So here we have the two towers. That's the entrance. And that actually introduces my ghost challenge for you guys. I want you to enter the seminary via one of these towers. So we're using a rope arrow. There is a pivoting archer in each tower, and each tower can be spotted by the other archer. So that could be a little bit tricky, but it shouldn't be too bad. So get into each of those towers, pass the actual guard, get into a safe location from this spot. So that's a nice challenge. That will be pretty easy to do because you don't have to, you can just start the mission and try it. Now, we're going to head, oh yeah, one thing I didn't say was that on the west side, there is a conversation between two guards, and there's even an Iron Beast here, that triggers if you get too close. And all those three will have patrol routes that'll impede our progress and our travel. So we do not want to trigger that conversation. That is why we pretty much are forced to go east here. There's one more conversation in the entrance to the workshop, in this room, with 2 other patrollers, so that's why we're going to head to the workshop as late as possible. So manipulating conversations like that is perfectly legal for Supreme, and it's a very nice way to make your trip through the mission a little bit easier, which you will need for Supreme. So now we're getting into that shadow. So I think both of these are females, so she can see us unless we're in the dark.
Standing here all day and they'd bring me my food.
There we go. Okay. In here is a lab, and that's where the 2 pieces of loot that we have to skip are found. Because the slave or the servant in there will hear us picking the lock.
Look around for whatever that is.
Hear that? Look around for whatever that is. That was the first alert. So I'm going to go in here and just show you how to do this for Ghost.
Strange. I wonder what kind of work the mechanists do here.
So there's the servant that alerted to us. This is kind of interesting. There is a sort of a masking machine there that forces or implants masks onto people. Here's a purse worth 25, so that we have to skip for Supreme. So very interesting. Here's a little water basin of sorts. I'm going to take this mission a little bit slow because there's a lot to see. And here is a lever that opens the secret compartment underground.
I could really learn to hate these guys.
So what they're doing is that they are taking victims or maybe killing them and turning them into masked servants. And here is a ring worth 100, so that's another item you have to skip. You can close this. You only need to take a first alert here, but so if you want to do that, of course that's your decision. Here we have, I guess, these are the servants that are making those breathing noises. They're in some kind of liquefied chamber. Maybe that's to tenderize them a little bit. Now, an interesting piece of trivia here is that if you wait long enough, if you keep playing the mission for many, many hours and come back here, these 2 servants have disappeared. So they are not in there. I don't know how long, but it's after a certain amount of time. So that shows that they are now ready or ripe to be used, I guess. So the other door just leads out to the courtyard on the other side. And that is also pickable. So these 2 doors are pickable. So we're not going to pick those. We have to skip 125 loot then because of that. This is a door into the seminary. This takes you in right here. And the guard you can hear is up on the roof. If we're not careful, she can't see us from up there. That's the other door, then, into the lab. Can't go around that way. Here is another door. Takes us into a small crypt. That's not one of the 2 crypts that I talked about lead to the catacombs. And then this is a hammer. And this one, I think, is a big mace or something. Or maybe it's even empty. There's nothing of value or interest in there. See how I can look down and move? So that is very useful that we can move. We just have to manipulate it a little bit. Okay, now we get to a graveyard. So that would be in the southeastern section. There are haunt sounds here, but there are no haunts around. 2 more hammers around here. There is a guard that comes out here from that door occasionally, so... Okay, we are going to listen to that conversation now. We're going to use the outer door. Let's save it first. It's a long one, so it'll take a little while.
Better not disturb them. I can hear the meeting just fine from out here.
Behold, Sheriff Truitt, from the lowly street rat emerges the loyal worker, that which I call the servant.
This is one of the tramps I delivered to you? The transformation is spectacular.
And neither want nor worry has he.
Lucky fellow. Strange you should mention worries, Karras, because I do have one. It's not that the money's not right, no, it's just that I need to be convinced you've taken the proper precautions. The Truitt name is untainted by scandal, and I will not be the one to bring it humiliation and ruin.
Trust thee in me, for 'tis the builder himself who guides me, and the Baron need never know.
Yes. I'm glad your builder guides you, but it would make me feel even more confident if you were to let me in on your whole scheme. Come now, what's the crux of it all, eh, Karras? Show me what's so special about your new servants.
'Tis impossible to hide anything from you, good sheriff. I will give thee full explanation then, in the form of demonstrations. The visual in this instance would far surpass any verbal elaborations I could relate, but I must ask thee to step away from the masked servant, that's right. And meanwhile, I will retrieve our volunteer, a most unfortunate gutter snipe who waits just outside. Come, come, gentle beggar, and stand thee just there, next to the masked man. Yes. Now, all is in readiness, so keep thine eyes on the new arrival, whilst I signal the servant. Thusly.
My word! The mask emits a red vapor!
Continue thy observations, Truitt.
But it consumes them! We are in peril!
Fear thee not, stout sheriff, for we are safe at this distance. See, already the reaction ceases.
They are gone! And what remains in their stead? Sand? No. Rust.
Indeed, 'tis very much like rust, and harmless once settled. Brother Fegan, I pray thee, do sweep up what is left of those two.
Yes. A weapon, then! Quite fantastic and monstrous. Of course, you'll keep these servants you're making away from me and my men?
Thou need not even ask.
Then we are in agreement. You need subjects for your servant project, and I can supply them. Vagabonds, street scum, prostitutes, those who will not be missed by anyone of consequence. They'll be rounded up, charges invented, etc. Still, there's always risk. So I will give you 20, no more. For your part, you'll remember to keep our transactions absolutely secret. And of course, deliver my payment in advance, in full, tomorrow. I don't trust you, Karras, so you'll receive the subjects only after I confirm the payment. Well, our business here is finished.
Yes. Very well, Truitt. Now see, friends, with the builder's efficiency, I have completed 2 tasks with but 1 effort. Firstly, I did secure 20 subjects to be transformed into servants, as you heard. And secondly, I secured the loyalty of the wary Sheriff Truitt. Yes, his loyalty. Truitt fears scandal. Yet his actions of late could bring him that or worse, if ever made public. Now, behold my wax cylinder machine. I've used it to capture the sheriff's very words, even as they moved through the air today. Hearken, friends.
And I can supply them. Vagabonds, street scum, prostitutes, those who will not be missed by anyone of consequence.
With his voice thus preserved, Truett dare not betray me, or he'll have the scandal he fears so much. Brother Fegan, thou wilt see to it that this wax cylinder machine gets safely to the bank on the morrow. You will find the safety deposit box key in a closet near the pulpit. Friends, we are adjourned. Return now to your duties.
I'd like to get a copy of that key myself.
All right, so there we heard it. So we got checked off that objective for the conversation, and we need now to find the deposit box key and make an impression of it in wax. So apparently we know then there is a wax impression machine. I don't think that was said in the conversation. Maybe I missed it. I'm not sure. And we were told that the correct key is in the closet by the pulpit. So the closet is in the pillar next to the pulpit. Interestingly, the key on the pulpit, there's another one there, that is the one that we cannot return for Supreme. So we almost got the wrong one on the first try, but I got the one very close to it, which is not a problem to get or return, because you can close the door behind you, but it's not that you get heard by dropping the key here. You get seen, because this whole area around the pulpit is brightly lit. So there's a guard right here that faces east and will see you. I'll show you that when we get there. I want to make another save here, because that took quite a while. So I think that conversation is very interesting, because Truett, even though he is seemingly friendly to Karras, there is an undertone of disrespect, almost borderline sarcastic. You know, notice that he is not saying goodbye when he leaves. It's just that our business is done here. And he is only looking at it from a selfish point of view. And I think Karras knows that. Karras is not a dumb guy. And if you didn't know, I hope you did, or I assume you do, the voice of Karras is the same as the voice of Garrett. It's Stephen Russell voiced both of them. And if you haven't listened to the podcast episode from Inside at Last featuring Stephen Russell, you got to do so. It is a great episode, and he is just a wonderful guy to listen to, and has such good insight in the act of voice acting, or the art of voice acting, rather, and he even tries to do Karras briefly in that episode, which is great. Or doesn't try, but he gives us the privilege to listen to it. I think that the term that Karras used, gutter snipe, about the woman that was brought in. A gutter snipe is just a homeless child, basically, that is unruly. And I also like that the mechanists are using alternate words for their inventions. Like the phonograph that he recorded the conversation on, he called a rock cylinder machine. And there are several other examples of that in the game here that I will point out as we go along. So now we know where we are needing to go. We're going to go one other area before we get that far, but we're going to head into this store. Okay. We're going to need to wait here. That guard should go up those steps. He went into the guard quarters now. So that's the other door you can listen to, if you want to. That guard went in here first, so we're going to go this way and go. This is the Acolyte quarters. 3 goblets here. I don't think he goes downstairs. This is one of the keys. Okay? Now, if you take the wrong key, Garrett actually makes a remark.
Wrong key.
He has a couple of different things he says.
Wrong key.
Okay, it might be the same thing he says for that one key, but we can try the next one and see. So if we go this way, there's a secret entrance. Let's see here. And here is a stack of gold coins worth 100 total, 370. And if we go the other way, we will come out then in the guards' quarters. So we went into the acolytes' quarters first, and then the guards' barracks. One of these is empty, and the other contains a mace, which is very heavy, and you can drop and make a lot of noise. Here's a vase worth 50 total, 420. And here is the second out of 10 keys.
Wrong key.
Says the same thing there. Okay, I might be wrong then. I thought it was multiple different. Here's a readable. Master Gaspar, thy name was mentioned to our Lord Karras as one who might be welcoming to the future. Perhaps thou hast heard of the mechanists, but thou may be confusing us with our hoary forebears, the hammers. Were they spurned, thou and thy kind, the mechanists embraced those with a voice in the city's future. Perhaps thou might attend a sermon at Angel Watch. There be many wonders we would be happy to show thee in our workshops. Friend Tickspring. It's a apt name, Tickspring. Okay, let me see. I think that guard might be on his way. Maybe. I think so. No. He headed into the acolyte's quarters right now.
Who's there?
No, he did not. He came out of the... Okay, I heard him in the acolyte's quarters. We're going to wait for him to come in here and then turn around again. Thief is one of those games where if you just sit still and don't do anything, it's still enjoyable. Because you hear, everything you hear around you, like the ambiance and the guards, even though you are not playing the game, you are still observing and you are still absorbing the atmosphere. It's just incredible. Best game ever made, without a shadow of a doubt. And I don't really separate the games. Well, the third one I haven't played, but Thief 1 and 2 and all the fan missions, that's just the best universe that you could possibly imagine. Okay, enough about that. Anyway, here's a purse worth 25. Total 445. We are going to make a real save here because we're coming up on a very difficult area that I will explain. So in the chapel now, there are a total of 4 pieces of loot around the pulpit that we have to take, and there's 1 piece of loot between the pews in the chapel audience area, a tiara that we have to take. And we also obviously have to take our key in the correct area, in the closet, but that's not a problem. Now, the way that we can take those pieces of loot for Supreme is to utilize a conversation. As soon as we're going to enter this door, 2 guards are going to get close to each other. One is going to go from here and move over and face north, and there's one by the main entrance that's going to go south and face that way. We can sneak up and take the loot while they are talking. Then we will need to move back here and wait around this corner until they're done. As they are returning to their spots, we will have to go for the tiara. So that is our job right now. And that can be a little bit tough, but hopefully I can do this in one go. That's what I'm going to try, because if you have to save and reload, the conversation will restart. And that kind of sucks.
Dost thou know whether the sheriff hath arrived?
The sheriff? What doth he here?
In Karras' name, man, hast thou been stuffing leaves in thine ears? Hast thou not heard about the meeting?
Oh, the meeting. I had forgotten that today was the date.
Fa! Thou hast no idea what I speak on. Thou must learn to pay more attention, lest thee find thyself fallen by the wayside as the future passes thee by.
There we go. I'm going to read those two things. Don't worry about it. Just want to make sure I get back to safety here. There. Now we're safe. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, let's see here. This is the eastern pillar. Oops. In here, there's nothing. Just cleaning supplies. From the pulpit here, you can see that there's another key. That's the wrong key, and that's the key then that you cannot return for Supreme. For Ghost, the only way to properly return that key for Ghost is if you buy the invisibility potion pre-mission. Because then you have to use that potion to return it. He doesn't hear you returning it unless you make noise, but he will see you unless you use that potion. So we took a vase worth 50 and a goblet worth 15 on the pulpit itself. And then on the altar railing, we took 2 golden candlesticks worth 50 each, and between the pews we took a tiara worth 125, so we should have 735 here. That's correct. Let me read those 2 things for you.
For Karras' sake, is there someone there?
Psalm 13. When thou art born. When thou art born, thou art blind and weak and squalling. So is the ore weak and crumbling when it's pulled from the earth. Stoke thy forge and burn away all impurity.
These mechanists are just as bad as the hammers.
No noise now, builder be blessed.
So
Bespeak thyself, and test my patience no more.
Let me just read this one.
Stop! Stand in.
So now both of them see us. Lord Karras, your sermon was so inspiring. I never thought of it that way. To be a little cog floating around in the big boiler. So warm and toasty, you see? Please accept my compliments, and do tell me you will come to the dinner we are having on Saturday. Lady Einhorn. So Karras basically is, or definitely is, getting some influence around the town. People like him. Don't know why, but he's certainly eccentric enough. So we are going to go into the closet here and get our proper key. And when you get the proper key, none of the wrong keys will trigger any alerts or any cues from Garrett at that point. Here it is.
I better come back here and replace this key when I'm done with it.
Safety deposit box key. This is actually loot. Some kind of an offering bowl. And in the original release, it was underneath the table. Don't know why they've put it on top of the table now. There are fixes like that done for Thief that I don't always understand. But that maybe says more about me than anything else. Let's see. I'm gonna head over here now. We're gonna head up on the roof, actually. At this point. And he is going outside, so that fits quite well, I think, for us.
Who's there?
So there we have the clang because of my frame rate not being good enough.
Oh, and the wilderness beset with slithering, cursed above all places, find not thy way into my nightly sojourns. Attach thee not, foul denizens, to my
Wait for him to go inside. Be a little bit careful here because there's a window, so he can see you from inside. We're going to jump up there, actually.
And there cameth an oxen, and Karras smote it. And there cameth a sycamore, and he did rain blows till it too was sorely smoted. And two others came that he
Didn't get spotted there. Quite lucky. We want to dodge her. Do that in a specific way. In this, there is a stack of coins, I think. Yeah. Goblet over here. Worth 15. She goes back there. We're going to go into this room. She has a very slow patrol. There's a statue. Here is a bottle of wine worth 50, and then there is another copy of the key. So I think we've seen... This is the 5th one, I believe. In one of these is a healing potion. So not that one, but that one. It's not pickable, but... Okay, so I want to now show you or play one of the unused conversations in this mission. There are 4 of them, actually. So I will show you those with regular intervals throughout the playthrough to break it up a little bit, break up the pace. So this is the first one. These are all found in the sound files released with the game, but they're not used in the mission. But these are specifically for this mission. They're labeled as such. So let's go ahead and do that.
Hail, friend.
How go thy works?
As always, there are those who wish blessings at no cost to themselves, but most see the wisdom of Karras and grant the demands we make of them.
The blind are always with us, dragging down our efforts and prattling of natural things. But the light of the builder shall sear open their eyes someday. Would that it pains them more even than they pain us now.
Cool. So another conversation among or between mechanists then. Of course, talking bad about people that don't adhere to their demands. So it's certainly not a democratic situation, but it's more one of persuasive dictatorship, I guess it is. Giving people the false impression that they actually are in charge of their own actions when they aren't. Interesting. So we're going to head in here. Okay. We're going to have to wait for that guy to come. There are 2 patrollers here that have the same route as far as I have been able to gauge. And they have clockwise patrols around the 2nd floor. So this guy is coming down here now. Or is it a woman? I can't tell. So we're going to have to wait for her to go by then. There's a statue there that we need, and we need to get into that office. No, you know what? I think maybe the other woman is only on the west side. I'm not 100% sure. So that's a stationary guard, and she can be a little bit difficult to get by. Okay, this is an office of some sort. 2 bottles of wine, and the 6th location of the key, which is in, this is an office, I think is labeled as an office. Let's read this. Lord Karras, I write to you on behalf of my lord, who is much intrigued with your services to other nobility. I'm given to understand that your favors are reserved for those who please the Mechanist Tower. My lord desires to do so, but he is concerned that his gifts may be incorrect, or perhaps misdelivered. Please let me know by messenger if I can do aught to advise him. Jerome of the House Thorburn. So keep in mind the name Thorburn. It's going to come up a little bit later. Okay, on the wall here, it's very dark for me, but you can see there is a ladder. And in this room, which is sort of a semi-hidden bedroom maybe, is a necklace worth 200, total 1165. And there's a readable. Karras, I received your note. I think you worry too much. I shall be there in good time for our meeting, assuming that your loyal disciples are willing to let me all the way into your meeting hall this time. There's much work to be done between now and tomorrow at 12, so leave me in peace until then. Gorman Truart Sheriff. So I guess this is is this Karras's bedroom? Maybe it's just his bedroom while he's here. Okay. This ladder goes all the way up, and this is the loft. And there's nothing of interest up here. I'm not even sure if you can. I think these are metal. There's metal ceilings, so you can't even rope arrow up here. And it's interesting because in the unused texts, there's actually a file that says the key, the deposit box key, can be found in the loft, which is an actual location, but there's no key here. So that was maybe one of the locations that they used to have, and then realized that it was too difficult to find this place. There's no indication on the map where the loft is, and it might be tough for casual players to know exactly how to get here. Might not even find this place. There's also indication in the unused texts of the key being in the gallery and the key being in the kitchen. And there are no gallery and no kitchen in the mission. So those might be locations that were planned to have in the seminary that were scrapped, you know, for size or time constraint purposes. But there are a total of at least 13 areas where the key could have been located, but only 10 of them actually are implemented. So I found that quite interesting to know. Okay, we're going to move along here. Have to watch that woman.
Huh?
So if we go too fast between the pillars here, then she will see us.
If someone be there.
Oh, she didn't have to be facing our direction, did she? Forgot about her. They pivot. It's the tower guard. Sorry about that. Or
What's that there?
I was... What?
Hello?
So we can't have her that direction. She needs to turn around before somebody comes and sees us here.
What's that there?
Oh, she did turn around. Okay. Yeah, we need to reload until she turns around so we don't get spotted here. They do turn, but they have very, very slow or long directional times. They do not turn around very frequently. That should be good. Gold candlestick. We're gonna head upstairs. Good. Up here we're safe. So that candlestick was worth 50, 1230. There's a goblin in here. And is this the 7th location? I think so, yes. It is the 7th location of another key. I think this is empty, that this footlocker. Yes, it is. Okay. So let's take a little time up here and listen to another conversation, the 2nd out of 4 from this mission that has not been used in the game.
Hast thou seen our father today? He seemed tired to mine eyes.
'Tis not surprising. The weight of all that the Builder has gifted us rests upon his shoulders, and the plaints of smaller men are always squeaking in his ears, keeping him from rest.
Truly, truly. We must praise the Builder to have wrought Karras with such well-forged strength.
Aye, Karras is the tool in the hand of the Builder that shall reforge the rot of forest and field into clean machinery.
Cool. So the mechanist guards and their servants obviously look at Garrett as some kind of prophet here from their god, the Builder. So it's very similar to the Hammerites, but as the next conversation is going to reveal, they are not very fond of the Hammerites, in case you didn't realize that so far. So we're going to head back down, and we're going to go down to the bottom.
Hello?
So here again, we have to make sure that she doesn't... Go down here. Here's a purse. Worth 50, total 1295. You're hearing the guard from upstairs now. This door takes us to the northwest corner of the chapel. Front door guard is right here that was involved in that conversation. So you cannot go up these stairs from this location. That's not possible. You will get caught.
If someone be...
That was my mistake.
Hello?
We will just do that. So here, you can actually see her head without her actually seeing you. Oh, come on. Good, I was worried that it was going to be a guard there. Okay. She has a healing potion. Oh. No, there's nothing in here. There's no loot in here. up here there's a goblet. And there's the 8th location of the key. And
Woe to them that trust not in Karras. From his mouth
I think there is...
From his pen the builder's plan is
No, that's empty. There's another footlocker down below that is pickable. Okay, let's wait for that guard to come through. Okay, good. No, we need to go down here. And in here, this one should be the pickable one. Yes. I think that's the only lock we have to pick in the mission. So that has a stack of gold coins worth 100, total 1410. This will then take us out to the northeast corner of the... Wait. Oh, yeah. So there's... Okay. So there are stairs up this direction on both sides. And then on this side, west side, there are stairs down underneath those stairs. But over on the east side, there's no stairs going down. That's how it's arranged. Alright, there's a couple of readables in here too. Week 23, Lord Basil, 6 crates wool tweed, send spiral lamplighter. Lord Wilkerson, 300 gold, send clockwork picture tray. Lord Toby, 1 crate paper, ignore. Brian Masterson, 1500 gold, will send masked servant. Gorman Truert, goodwill, sending clockwork spy cameras. Lord Winhill, 1 crate fine wire, send spiral lamplighter. The other one is another log. Week 26, Lord Basil, 2 crates lamb's wool, send clockwork picture tray. Lady Waterdyke, 16 crates flour, will send masked servant. Lord Toby, 4 crates paper, send spiral lamplighter. Lady Thompson, 200 gold, send rotary polisher. Arthur Whitcomb, 2 flowering bushes, ignore. Lord Thorburn, 2 crates tin ore, send clockwork spy cameras. Okay, so here we have Lord Thorburn again, who the first time seems to have tried to send a plant. Wasn't that in the readable above? And then sent wine. And then sent tin ore. And finally got a camera. So a clockwork spy camera is then a watcher. We have the masked servant. We have clockwork picture tray. I don't know what that is. A tray with maybe a picture at the base of it. Of a clock maybe. Spiral lamplighter. I'm not sure what that is. It's probably some kind of a lighter. Like an actual lighter with fluids in it. A rotary polisher. So I don't know what that is, some kind of polishing device for metal. But any gifts that have to do with living creatures or plants. Flowering bushes, right? 1 crate of paper. That is not enough, because there was one that delivered several crates of paper that got it. So there are several donations, and then they will reward those donations if it fits their needs and their purposes, I guess.
Blood is consumed of the fire.
Interesting.
Melteth in vain, for the wicked are not plucked away.
So we might not be able to make this, but we can hide in that corner if we need to. Because we cannot go fast here. We have to just go back up this hallway.
From his pen the builder's plan is busily writ. Woe to them that trust not in Karras. Hello?
Yeah, we will not make that. Should be able to hide here. and then wait for her to pass.
Good cog, is that?
Okay. We can do that. We just have to go a little bit further into the corner.
Hello?
How about we just... Don't know how on earth she didn't hear that, but...
Hello?
Oh! That's not good. Last time I played... that worked just fine. There. She walked a little bit differently that time.
Make haste when thou can, that thou shalt prosper o'er them that slug. Make numbers when thou willst, that thou shalt prosper o'er them that are few.
We basically need to just to make our way to the door for the roof again. We're pretty safe here. There's a broken arrow here. Not sure if that indicates that you should be able to arrow up there. Should we try? You can. Okay, maybe that's what it indicates then. It's a hint that you can actually get up there. But there's no reason to get up there. Okay. Good, we're done inside the seminary, besides the basement. We're now going to spend some time in the catacombs before we go to the workshop. There's a ladder we can kick down and move. Oh, be a little bit careful here. We're now in the southwestern area. So here are the two guards and the iron beast that I said you do not want to trigger the conversation of. If you go to the north side here, you will. We're going to listen to the conversation just to hear it.
I tell thee, for thou art my friend, that I wish the children of Karras were more mild, see.
Thou not the first to be afraid of them, for their visages wont to strike terror into the enemies of Karras, or those who might consider becoming enemies.
Well, and it might, for it near strikes terror into mine own heart.
Thinkest thou thine own soft body of leaky flesh and wheezing gases is glorious to the eyes of the builder? Nay, 'tis thy soul that is the only thing of any worth. So 'tis with the children of Karras, for they are the blessed and immortal heirs of the builder, while I and thou are but the paltry tools that forged them.
As thou sayest.
It's not done yet.
What a fool. Karras would be well rid of that one.
Another interesting conversation. There's a lot of cool conversations in this, and I wish that some of the unused ones had been implemented as well. So there's clearly disagreements within the order. Okay, 2 crypts here. One with the hammer in a chest, worth 75, total 1485. Then we're going to head into the Catacombs. 2 stacks of silver coins and 1 stack of gold coins here. So Haunt, you can hear. There he is. Notice that Haunt in this game has hammers instead of swords, as they did in the Dark Project. And hammers make more sense because they are dead hammerites. Here's another hammer. Total 1609. I'm going to listen to another conversation, the third one, down here in the catacombs. So let's check that one out.
Hast thou been back to our old haunts, friend?
The Temple of the Hammer? Nay, not since I joined with Karras.
Yestereve I visited to speak to mine once brothers. It struck my eye how bare and shabby wert the rooms.
I do remember, now thou dost mention. They sought only to punish and threaten, and it gained them naught but fear. Karras seeks the friendship of the rich, blessing them with his works of invention. And in return, they do gift us well.
I must approve, for it makes mine surroundings much more fair.
If our old brothers suffer that so many have left for our order, 'tis but their own fault for standing in opposition to progress.
Cool. So that really shows the difference in principle between the Hammerites and the Mechanists, I think. The Hammerites are more archaic and stand for the old traditional conservative view and sort of the ruling with an iron fist attitude. While the Mechanists stand for more progress and conforming to new advancements in technology, and that obviously is with the times. So it makes sense why people want to go for progress rather than archaic ways. So we are going to, let's wait for that Haunt to come back, and we're going to go ahead and follow him. Listen to the sounds of the Haunt a little bit. This is the first time we're seeing a Haunt in this game. We did see a Haunt ghost in Framed, but that wasn't a hostile Haunt. It was just a neutral one. Nothing in here. Head in here. Oh, that's the holy symbol, that's right. You don't need that. I don't know. If anybody can enlighten me, what is this holy symbol used for? You know, you can pick it up, throw it, but it looks like you can use it on something. I'm not sure. Here we have a goblet, worth 25, total 1639. So we've now moved our way up here. This is where the goblet is. There's actually walls here. It doesn't look like there is, but this is a torture chamber with 4 cubicles, but there's no way you can go south from that. Oh, he saw me when I leaned. There. Okay, this door is locked but pickable. And you can hear that there is a conversation that starts there. That's the workshop conversation that we do not want to trigger. And we do not want to pick that lock. So that is right here. I do not want to pick that lock unnecessarily, because you can't relock it and you'll leave an unlocked door that you don't need to leave unlocked. This is a pickable footlocker with a healing potion that we do not need under any circumstance. necklace in here worth 200. Here's another key. So that isn't that the 9th key? 9th red key, I believe. And that's the only key that is dependent on difficulty level. That's only there on expert. Here is a locked door up to the chapel. So we also can pick that open, but I don't want to. And then in here there's a hammer worth 75 and a purse worth 50, total 1979. That's all but one piece of loot. And that we will take in the workshop. So yeah, on normal and hard I think there are 9 keys. While on expert there's 10. I think that's correct. Let's go in here and wait. So if that key in the Catacombs is the one for Supreme, you'll have to make a fairly long trip if you want to return it. Especially if you don't want to pick the locks on those doors. You have to go all the way back to the end or inner parts of the Catacombs to get that done. So that's the one key that I said would be quite tedious if we got. We didn't. We got a key that's pretty easy to return. I think the guard went up into the guard's quarters there. Head down here, and that's the way down to the workshop. Final piece of loot is under the stairs. In 1994, that was worth 15. That's the last piece of loot. We're going to listen to another conversation here.
A pox upon it! Never shall I finish my design. The springs and gears conspire and confound me.
Calm, friend, calm. On the morrow, let me come by thy workbench and help thee untangle things.
I would be most grateful, couldst thou help?
'Tis nothing. Think on it as the copper and tin mingle to make the stronger bronze. So dost we each mingle and flow together in Karras' forge to make stronger as well.
Thou art wise.
'Tis Karras who is truly wise. His bounty and the machines we construct shall help all of humanity in the coming times, and all shall know his wisdom.
I will be glad to have this wretched task behind me that I might move to a more profitable position.
So very nice attitude by that woman there, and there's a very high degree of loyalty to Karras. Make sure that they're out of the way. So that's the door that we saw from the other side where the haunts were. It's a skull up here? No idea why, but there is one. This is the workshop. This is one of the smaller robots. They can see you, they can hear you. Okay, what is that? Okay, good. That freed him up. Let's read this. Hymn 18, the boiler, it is thy heart. The boiler, it is thy heart. The valves, they are like limbs. The steam, it is thy blood. Praise Karras, who forges the boiler, and praise the builder who forges thee.
It's no big secret that the mechanists are the ones supplying Sheriff Truart with those machines.
That is true. 2 water arrows and a readable. Oh. Let's read it instead. Friend Cultus, recent experiments have confirmed my fears. Mere water can indeed halt the builder's children. If a significant amount of moisture pools in the aft boiler, the result is complete paralysis. The weather has been agreeable of late, but if a thunderstorm were to strike, Cultus, I task you with fixing this problem immediately. Water poured directly into the boiler may shut the children down, but you must at least be competent enough to protect them from a simple rain shower. Father Karras. It's also a scouting orb right here. So obviously, if you use, I think it's 1 water arrow on these smaller robots and 2 on the larger ones. Then that will
It's
kill
no
them.
big secret that the mechanists are the ones supplying Sheriff Truart with those machines.
Here is the 10th and final key. So, in my original run a long time ago, I thought that if you got this key, you would also bust Supreme, because you can't return it, but you can. If the robot is in the wax impression room on the other side here, you can drop it back without him hearing. I've tested that even in Old Ark. Let's go in here. Friends, if thou wouldst make a mold, press thine item into the wax press. Such impression being made, use the putty knife to scrape away the top layer of wax. Use this method, friends, to make molds of most small articles, keys, cogs, gears, springs, and the like. To create a tool of hardened steel, give thy mold to brother Mendelus, whose place it is to work the fires of the forge, Cultus. We need the putty knife. And we need the bank impression key. Bank key impression. Use the key on the wax, then use the putty knife on the wax impression. And then we have to put the putty knife back. And that we have to do when this robot is over by that desk right there. Yep. See, the reason why I thought that this mission wasn't supremable was that I tried when the robot was stationed over here. I just assumed that that was the farthest away from the wax impression room. But I think it's just a line of, you know, a line in the air regardless of any walls. So this wall here, it's actually right on the other side of that wall. So the robot can hear that pretty easily. So I think we've done what we need to do here. Yep. We just need to... We didn't take anything we didn't need to take here, did we? No. We just need to return the key. Let's listen to our last conversation and make sure that we hear the 4th unused audio file.
My friend, where wert thou last night? I waited for thee nearly forever.
I am sorry. The device I was constructing would not work properly, and Lord Karras had promised it to the Thorwalds by today.
Why dost thou waste thy time? The Thorwalds will appreciate thy pains not at all.
The Builder dost command us to work with all our skill on all we do.
Those lessons are for novices, friend. Thou must treat them with practicality.
Okay, so it seems like one of the mechanists here have sort of developed a little bit of a lax attitude towards providing the nobility with quality items. So the two that were involved in the conversation earlier do have patrol routes. One is outside. And one is, I think, upstairs, if I remember correctly. So now we have to drop it back here. Nobody hears that, and that checks off. Bring the original key back to the place you found it so the mechanists don't realize you've stolen it. I didn't read that objective earlier. That's all we have to do. We are done. Sounded like maybe an alert, but I don't think it was. It's way too far away. So now we just have to leave the mission, which is right over here. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Should end it. Perfect, perfect. That was a successful Supreme Ghost of Eavesdropping. Total time 49 minutes, 59 seconds. Found 1994 loot out of 2119. That's 125 loot below the max. We skipped a purse worth 25 on a corpse in the lab. On the northeast of the seminary, and also a ring in the hidden pit in the same lab in one of the secrets, so we also didn't get that secret count. So there's no way to get those two for Supreme because you will trigger a first alert from the servant when you open the door. Pockets picked 0 out of 1. Locks picked 1. Backstabs 0. Knockout 0. The one pickpocket is the healing potion on that archer in the tower. Damage dealt 0, damage taken 0, healing taken 0, instance killed none, and others killed 0, Iron Beast destroyed 0, disabled 0. Secrets found 0 out of 1. Campaign totals, time so far 3 hours, 40 minutes, 2 seconds. Loot so far 79.32, and total damage dealt 8 and received 0. 3 hours and 40 minutes does not sound very much for 5 missions. So if we had compared that to after 5 minutes in Thief 1, I'm not sure how much the difference is. But I think that is quite a lot, because Mission 5 was Thieves Guild, which is a very long one. So, a pretty good mission this. Good, standard, average mission. I will give it a 72%. So it's in the okay and, more than playable category. It's not very good and it's far from excellent, but it's a good mission. It's along the lines of, I would say, Undercover and Assassins. Those are in the same low 70s range from Thief 1. So it's definitely comparable to some of the Thief 1 missions. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay. I will do First City Bank and Trust next. I will not go back to T2X right now, I will move on to Thief 2, and I'm very much looking forward to that, because that's one of the very, very good missions in the game. It's a massive one, it's difficult, but it's really cool. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I hope you like this one. Feel free to comment, subscribe if you want, like the video if you want, and I'll see you around. Have a good night. Bye-bye.